Alright. Going to be going over the markets. The market just opened, well, for Forex, but gold is going to open in about 30 minutes, and I'm just going to observe what I'm going to be looking at right now. Observe what's currently going on in the market, what's going on in the economy, and the setups that I'm going to look to take. And if I end up taking a setup in around market open, here I'm gonna go over just gold for the most part. I'll look at Nas as well. Nas has been trading sideways for a decent amount of time. Nas has been trading sideways for a while now. Nas and potentially GA, because GA is actually trending. GA has been trending down for a while, but gold is the main focus, especially if gold does end up breaking out of this current range that it is currently in right now. But let me go ahead and just mark the charts first. Let me see. Daily time frame. So we're bullish. Nice bullish close above. Resistance. This is the main zone. Mark off. The price was trading sideways within this range. Originally traded sideways. Trying to support down here, which was the main support of that, but within this overall range, I really want to keep it simple. That support, the next support that I want to mark off, if price does continue to trade back lower, will be here. Major support down here, and then price isn't trading down here. I don't need to add this. What I do need to add is the next resistance range. I'm just looking. The next previous resistance range. It's actually really clear, a clear path for gold. If gold ends up breaking out of this consolidation range right here, just to measure the move here, potentially up into 5,300. So that's gonna be my main main flow state for gold. If gold does end up getting continue to hold and break above 5,100, then I'm gonna look to target 5,300, which is, let's see, it's actually, that's 2,000 pips, which is 2,000 pips, which is actually very, very beautiful. So I'm going to look at 5,300 as well. I'll adjust it, make it a little bit cleaner. Yeah, this actually looks very beautiful here. And then I'll put another one at the previous lower high up here. I'm gonna make sure I identify up here. I can clearly see that this is Previous low, I don't need that. So my main areas right now, as long as price maintains above 5100, then 5300 would be the main TP, and a minor area in between would be this previous high at 5200. I'll mark this off. It's for, yeah, this internal area right here, internal zone, because price held a support and resistance here. I don't like that color. Do you have any other colors? Let me see. I keep it like this. So I'm gonna look to target on gold. This is another. Let's see it in another area between this as well. This previous lower high here. Price is already trading at this high. Price is actually continue to maintain and trade above there, but this is the next. Is this range up here in this area? Actually, no, I'm gonna just focus on market structure when it comes to this. So gold is currently bullish right now. What has to happen is gold has to actually maintain above 5100 and not reject it. Price trades back below. This is just another fake out. This price broke above and then it came right back down below, started retesting and holding as resistance, then came all the way back down. So what I want to see is gold actually continue to maintain above. But to actually above maintain above support. So I have my key areas marked off. So I know that gold is currently bullish, currently looking for buys, currently trading above support. So now that I have everything identified in the key areas that I'm gonna look to target, now it's just a matter of finding a setup to be able to get in with this current flow. There's this minor higher high, higher low. So if I'm looking at the structure, price came down. This is the higher low that formed on the 15-minute. So what I'll do is I'll just mark this off. This is the higher low that formed. Then price created a higher. Price is still continue to keep going up, depending on what happens market open, especially with what happened with the tariffs and everything. Depending on what happens, let's see what the market does here. No. This higher low. 5-minute has internal higher lows as well, higher low here. So I want to see if the market comes down, potentially down into support, or just comes down and give me some type of a higher low. I need to see the 5 minute is already aligned with bullish, and the 1 minute is aligned with bullish. So all I need to do is just wait for the first few minutes of market open to see if the bullish alignment is going to continue or is price going to start its retracement phase. And then I will wait for the 5 minute and 1 minute to align back bullish before I start looking to take buys. As long as price doesn't start trading back below 50.85, then buys are still valid. If price starts trading back below here and actually maintains as resistance, then price could potentially just be another fake outing go down. But for right now, I'm just gonna keep on looking for buys. And flow, I'm going to set some alerts. I'm gonna set an alert at 50, 51, 500. Set an alert at 51. And then I'll set another alert. If price continues to keep going bullish, then it's not really any true entry for me, but I do want to at least set another alert near the highs at 51.17. 51.17. Let's see what gold does. Gold is still bullish. I will continue to look for buys here. Just got to see what happens. Market open in about 20 minutes. Gold is really the only pair that I'm going to trade this week so far. Nas is trading sideways. Nas is still overall ranging, especially on a daily time frame. Nas is still ranging. It's bullish, but it's still ranging, and it's been ranging for a while. And if I have two pairs and one of them is ranging and the other is trending, I'm clearly going to focus on the pair that's actually trending. So Nas isn't anything major for me to look at, but I do just want to at least identify the key areas of support and resistance, the highs and the lows, resistance and support, major support down at the bottom, down here. So currently Nas is trading within this range here. Well, I gotta see what Nas is. Nas going to create a domain expansion. This is going to create that higher low, continue to keep breaking above. If it breaks above 2,500, then the next area of resistance that we'll look at is 25,300, 300 points away. It's really as simple as that on Nas. I would just wait for a break, retest, and continuation, just like it did right here. This entire zone is actually maintaining above it. This is a big box. This is a huge zone. The price maintains up. I actually going to take this off. Yeah, as long as Nas maintains above 25, 24,900, then price already got to the highs. As long as price maintains above 24,900, then the next resistance range that I'll look for buys would be up into 25,300 if that is valid. Super slow. 25,300. So that's what I'm looking at on Nas and gold. Gold still just looks cleaner. And GA actually looks really clean. I'm just focusing on structure, but I do want to identify. The only thing that I want to identify to the left is where price could potentially head down to. $189, 500. 189, 500 for the TP. To look left, and I do just want to make sure that 185. What did I say? 189, 500. I just want to make sure this lines up with support. Yeah, this does line up. Yeah, 189, 500 lines up beautifully with previous support. So that is going to be my support range. Then for just going to focus on what price is currently trading at right now. When it comes to support resistance, there is a resistance. Price is in a consolidation range. Beautifully broke below the resistance. Then the support, which was right here. Boom. GA actually looks very clean for potential sells. But I want to see what GA's price actually create a lower high. I want to get caught up in if price were to break back above here. I wouldn't get caught up in that because I know that structure is still creating lower highs at the end of the day. Even if price were to break above here, price should still be creating lower highs. And I would still look for that sell because what could potentially be present is that domain expansion where price is rejecting resistance, and it comes up and it doesn't come back down. I mean, come back up into resistance here. One times not, it'll have that smooth drop to the downside. So that's what I'll be looking at on GA. Adjusting this to the 1 hour to make it cleaner, a little bit better. Here, boom. Has this minor area of resistance in between right here where price held to support and resistance. So if I'm looking at areas of resistance, the main ones would be these three, depending on what GA does, especially once the market actually does its thing. So what I will look at for GA for positions was if price continues to maintain below this resistance range, price continues to maintain below 1.9600, then I would look for sells, and I would look for sells here in this area. I would have my stop loss above this resistance range because if price breaks above here, it's most likely going to travel up into here, and I can get a better entry there and just have my stop loss above that range. And then the flow state of this trade will be down to the 189 500 to 189 200 range. So this would be that setup on GA, which actually looks very clean. Want to see what happens here. If price does fail to hold as resistance here, then I'll wait and see if price does a few things. Either price breaks above and it's just an overlap, it breaks above, comes back down below, overlaps, and I'll look to take sales there, or wait and see if price pulls back up into resistance up here and hold as resistance, and then look to take sales there. So depending on if Gold or GA gives me the setup, I'm going to take the one that actually gives me the setup. I will do split screen here on Gold and GA. Do the 5 minute on both. Boom here. GA, I'll look at the 5 minute on GA as well. Let me see, price align with it. Managing this position, what I can do, I am, you know, stops, here, okay, 1, 2, almost up a 1 to 1. Almost up a 1 to 1. Price is almost at TP. 151.30 up into the resistance range. See if the market continues to keep going bullish. Price is near NTP. What I'm actually going to do here, instead of doing the box, because I like the lines better, gives me a little more clarity. Put this right here. This is TP1. Let's see if price doesn't end up getting here. Which would be a 1 to 2. There it goes. There it goes. Nice push up. Nice push up. TP almost hit. Yeah, I can move my stops to break even now. Risk free trade 51.30. Prices 30 pips away. 30 pips away. So what are we looking at here? Two is about. Market open, TB hit. I am going to trail my stop loss. 51 hit GA. What did GA just do? GA is pulling back in the range. GA, the spread on GA is still too high. I wouldn't even take a trade on GA. Honestly, let me go back to gold. Gold. Alright, TP hit. TP hit. So what I'm going to do now is manage my trade according to the system. Up a 1, 2, 2. Where's my 2 over here? Sure. There we go. Beautiful move. Up a 1 to 2. So what I'm gonna do is move my stop loss up to a 1 to 1, which is basically below this 1-minute candle. Move my stops below a 1 to 1, and now I'm just going to let this trade flow. If it wants to continue to keep going up, perfect, but take profit one has already gotten hit. Market open. Absolutely beautiful setup on market open. It doesn't show it on trading view, which is cool. So I monitored on Trade Locker, but on Trade Locker, this gap right here didn't happen. On Trade Locker, what happened is price created. Let me go to the 1-minute time frame on Trade Locker. When the market opened, the reason why I entered this trade, when the market opened right here on Trade Locker, what happened was the first 1-minute candle came down and created a higher low wick and created the wick right here at 50.98 here. It came, the market opened, it created a higher low wick, and then it ended up closing back above. And I didn't enter based off of that first candle closure, but the second 1-minute candle closed above. So my entry was at 51.11. 5111 right here. It's not gonna show it on trading on trading view, but on trade locker I got this entry 5111, and then I put my stop loss right there below that wick at 50.98, and then price took off. So I am, what am I up right now? Let me make sure this is clear. I am up a 1 to 2.8. Yeah, I'm up a 1 to 2.8. Well, no, I'm up a 1 to 2 flat now. Yeah, I'm up a 1 to 2. So since I'm up a 1 to 2, I'm going to move my stop loss to a 1 to 1, which is below this 1 minute wick. I'm up a 1 to 2 point something. So yeah, 1 to 2 point, whatever entry was, somewhere right here. So now I'm trailing my stop loss at a 1 to 1 below here because price already hit my first TP. So as long as price maintains here, then buys are still valid. But the main flow state for me with gold, and this is beautiful aspect of things. In the community, we talked about this, and if you guys are watching, you guys know exactly what we was looking for. Gold finally broke out of this consolidation. Now the thing is, gold has to actually continue to keep trading above. If gold continues to keep trading above this consolidation range that it had, and not just overlapping, close above and come back, if price continues to keep going bullish, then let me see. I can change this myself off. Let me do this thing. If gold continues to keep trading bullish, then the next flow state will be up into the 50. I'll do another line here, but the 50, this range right here, 50 to 10s will be the next area. Then the next flow state will be 5,300. But the main, since this is the previous lower high, is up into 5440s, 5450, which is a very key area. That's the main flow state. Potentially, if gold continues to keep trading bullish for the week. But for right now, I'm just going to focus on the key areas that price is currently trading at. This can happen anytime throughout the week. I'm not focused on that. What I'm focused on is what the market is currently giving me, which is this current area right now and the next resistance range right here. So these are the only two areas I care about. And since price is trading at a resistance, the market has to actually tell me that price is going to continue to keep breaking above. So I'm going to maximize the profit, minimize the risk. If the market continues to hold and reject here, I'm gonna get stopped out and take a dub. And if the market continues to keep going bullish, the market will show me that, and I will continue to keep holding. But either way, my stop loss is in profit, so I can just flow with this trade and manage this trade accordingly. I want to see if price gives me that 2 candle closure above this resistance range to confirm that break and not an overlap here. It's 50 seconds left, so these next two 5-minute candles will tell me what I need to know, which will in turn, well, that's already showing that, so I can now adjust this, because this first candle breaking above does not confirm that price is going to continue to keep going above, because I understand what overlaps are, and I understand that price could close bullish this one candle, and then the next candle come back down below and close bearish and trade all the way back down. And for me, I'm not going to allow the market to pull all the way back on me like that and just give away that much profit. I'm up basically a 1 to 3. So what I'm gonna do is move my stop loss below support, move my stop loss below this 5 minute wick here. So would basically be at a 1 to 2, close to basically at a 1 to 2 if I were to get stopped out now. But I'm just going to maximize the profit, let the trade do its thing, not focusing on the profit, focusing on the system. As long as the system, as long as the market continues to trade bullish, I'm going to continue to trade with what the data is, not with my take profit. I'm not trading with my take profit. I'm not trading with my resistance. I'm trading with the data that the market is presenting to me. But for right now, while this is trading and playing out, I'm going to step away for a few seconds. And the next area of resistance is a lot higher. What I can do is at least set some alerts just so I'm aware of where price is trading at a certain point of times. Like here is another resistance range. Thought I had this marked. No, I have it marked off on Trade Locker. Don't have it marked off right here. This is the next resistance range. Up here, I'll set an alert at 5170, which is about 100 pips away. So yeah, I can do 100 pips away just to monitor it. 5170. And now I can just let the market do what it wants to do. Go back to the font and monitor and see what's happening now. 2 minutes left. This next 5 minute candle closes above, then price could potentially continue to keep going up. If it closes back below, then that could be an overlap and price could drop, and I would no longer want to be in this trade. They give me that two candle close above. Still validates this setup. What I'm looking at here potentially. This isn't it. Where's that? Then drag this line all the way over. Want to scale in. Only thing is, I gotta make sure the risk to reward actually makes sense if I were to scale in. Because I already got the two candle close above. So, makes sense to continue to keep holding. If I were to enter, it stops freezing. If I were to enter right here, my stops will go below support and my take profit will be up into here. So that's valid. That's the 1 to 2 are multiple. So I could scale in. So if I do get stopped out, I would make a 1 to, because I'm up at 1 to 3 on this one. I'll make a 1 to 2 on this trade and I will lose a 1R basically. So what I'll do is basically be at break even. I also want to see what this internal zone, this internal 5 minute area, I want to see the same validation. I want to see two candles close above here. This, so I need to wait the next 5. I need to wait at least 10 minutes. So about 6:35, because what could easily happen is there's 3 minutes left in this candle. So all I'm going to do is analyze each candle on the scenarios of the each ways that it could close. If price can only close one of 3 ways. It can either close bullish, bearish, or neutral. If price were to close bearish below here, then this could be a overlap and price could come down back down into this area, either down into this area or it come down even lower. If price does close bullish, if price closed bullish within the next 3 minutes above this area, I still would have to wait for another candlestick, because although this first candlestick can close bullish, the very next candle can close back bearish, which would be a overlap of this area. So that's why I know I have to wait at least 2 candlesticks. If this candle were to close neutral, I'll still have to wait for the next candlestick, because price can either close bullish or bearish for that next candlestick. So me understanding and me knowing that it's no point in letting the formation of the candle trigger me, boost me up, make me more confident. The formation of this candle is still 2 minutes left, so that shouldn't determine if I say, oh, price could potentially go up more, or if it goes up higher, or price could get up into this area. I'm not, even though these are the two positions, I'm not focusing on a 1 to 2R or 1 to 3, and I'm not focused on a 1 to 5. I'm focused on what the market is currently telling me, and I'm just going to flow with what the market tells me. If it keeps on giving me opportunities, I'm going to keep on flowing. So there's no point in me trying to predict what's going to happen in the next 2 minutes, as opposed to using wisdom and following the system and just waiting till the candlestick actually closes within the next 2 minutes. So what time? Yeah, because the 15-minute candle's going to close anyway, but I'm just focused on the 5-minute candle. See it wicked above. Still 2 minutes left. In 2 minutes, the candlestick itself will tell me what is going to happen. I can already see on the 1 minute time frame that it's a small consolidation going on based on that. if I'm going more in depth here on the lower time frames, what could happen is this is the where's the low at? Let me identify the low. This is the low down here. This is the resistance range. Identifying this and understanding this. Price didn't close above and rejected it. Price could potentially come down lower. Unless two scenarios, either this resistance does hold and price comes down lower to the scenarios when it comes to bearish. Unless this is a domain expansion where price create this is the higher low that forms within that middle range and price continues to keep going bullish. Scenario number one. Scenario number two is price is going to come back down into this area of support and either trade here or break below here. Whichever one, see what happens here. Scenario number three is that was the higher low and price continues to keep pushing above. But this is where the next couple of candles come into play. So now I have to wait two more candlesticks for more of a confirmation. I gotta wait until this candlestick closes in the next 4 minutes, and then I gotta wait until the next candlestick close. So two candlestick closures is what I need to see here. So I gotta wait 10 more minutes to see what the market gives me. What I can do to trade this, trading from level to level, is actually that one makes sense. That actually makes sense. So I'm gonna move all my stop losses below this consolidation range. If price breaks below this consolidation, I no longer want to be in the trade. I'm cool with getting stopped out of the first position in profit at a 1 to about 1 to 2 point something. Yeah, 1 to 2, and then the first one would actually be a less of a loss than I originally intended because my first original stop loss was below support, was below here. Now with my stop loss, yeah, originally like a 1 to 2. Now my stop loss below here, what I did was essentially cut my loss for this position in half. So this is a beautiful trade. This is a beautiful trade management based on the system. It's still 2 minutes left till the market closes. That market closes till the candlestick closes. I'm gonna take that off. I don't need that right now. I could just monitor this from less aspect of things. Still didn't get that two candle close above. I still need 5 more minutes, 5 more minute candles to close from this. Still beautiful setup though. Price is still creating higher lows. As long as price maintains above these higher lows, and I can continue to keep moving my stop loss higher and higher, but still looking to target up into 51. 5180 for this current flow state. Still 3 minutes left until this candle closes. My first position is currently up a 1, 2, 3. So I can now move my stop loss. Well, it's almost up to a 1 to 4. I think on Ray Locker is probably up a 1 to 4. I can now move my stop loss to a 1 to 2, which was below here. Still want to see as long as price maintains above. Price starts flipping structure, then I will go ahead and close the positions here. Other rejection, still looking to target up there. 2 minutes left until this 5 minute candle closes. See what happens in the next 2 minutes. Continue to do my while I wait. I'm going to continue to do my daily mobility. Thing that I've observed and realized is like maximizing my time. Instead of just sitting here, if I know I gotta wait 5, 10 minutes, I'm not going to try to preoccupy myself with some random stuff. I'm not about to go walk away or go cook or go try to not because I want to I want to stay in the zone and monitor the markets and be present for every candlestick while I'm in this trade. So what I'll do is instead of just sitting here, hunchback and stuff, I'll sit here and stretch my posture, work on mobility, work on mind muscle connection, work on breathing. One candle close above is the next candle going to close above as well. Should be up a 1 to 4. Close to 1 to 4. Now, first position is in profit. I'm moving my stop loss. What am I up? A 1, 2, 3.5, 1 to 4. I'm moving my stop loss below. So the second position is actually can be put at break even. Yeah, all my positions can be put at break even. Because the price actually breaks back below support, then I no longer want to be in the trade. Because price already rejected it multiple times. Then it actually gave me two candle closes above, but full above the body. Price gave me the first candle close above. I want to see what happens in the next 3 minutes. for this next candle to close above, potentially see what happens. If I get another opportunity to scale in and I see another higher low, then I could look for another position, and I will move all of my stop losses to below this area, because if price breaks back below here, then it's no longer no point for me to be in the trade. And this next scale in position would be a 1 to 4, so it'd be over 1 to 2. My original, all my other positions would be in profit, so that would make this a risk-free trade. So I'm moving all of my stop losses up more here. Nice higher low, beautiful higher low. This price is going to continue to create a higher low and continue to go above or not. Depends. There's one candle close above. Price has to actually give me the two candle closer above for this to be valid. Above the previous high. 20 seconds left. Price breaks below here. I'm getting out. Price breaks below this higher low. I'm going to exit all of my positions. I'm going to move all of my positions. Price continues to keep going up. Beautiful, beautiful move on gold. What a catch on market open, the first hour of market open. This is why personally I don't listen to the world. I listen to my system, and for me, I don't care if it's 6 p.m. I don't care if it's 6 a.m. I don't care if it's 12 p.m. I don't care if it's 8 in the morning, 8 p.m. Market open Sunday. If I see a setup, if my system plays out, it doesn't matter what time it is. I'm gonna press buy or sell depending on what it is. Played out. So currently am up over decent amount. Prices continuing to keep pushing up right now. What a beautiful catch, about 112 to 160, about 50-ish, 500 pips. 500 pips on market open on gold is normal. 500 pips on gold is normal. It's what it does on a day-to-day basis. Gold on average moves. Gold moves more than 100 pips every single session. Just from my observing and studying over, just studying gold and learning gold, gold moves at least 500 pips not 500, at least 100 pips every session. Asian, London, New York, it doesn't matter. The session gold moves a minimum of 100 pips each session. I have it on. So why isn't it popping up? No, I don't want that one. I want. Is it because it's currently in this session? Yeah. See, I've noticed, observed gold moves at least 100 pips every single session. The bottom, the low, to the high, from 40, 80, yeah, 400 pips. 400, basically 500 pips. 500 pips during Asian session, the low of London session to the high of London session, 500 pips. New York session, of course, no more than 500 pips. But this New York session, the low of New York session to the high of New York session, 600 pips. The high of London session to the low of London session, which is basically down here, 570 pips. The low of Asian session to the high of Asian session, 600 pips. Gold moves 200 plus pips every single session. Every single session. Gold moves pips. This Asian session, gold moved a lot of pips. That's GA. I'm not focused on GA. Gold moves over 200 plus pips every single session. It's rare that you catch Asian, London, or New York session where gold doesn't move 200 plus pips. Even within this area right here, from the low to the high, this is still 300 pips. Gold within a week's time frame, every single session, on average, moves 300 pips. This is 450 pips. Gold on average moves 300 pips every single session. I'm only looking at Asian sessions because Asian is usually the slower session. 700 pips. London session, 700 pips. London session, 1400 pips. Asian session, 2000 pips. Asian session, 1400 pips. Even during this small move consolidation range in London session, this was still 600 pips. Gold moves at least 200, on average 300, actually on average 300 pips every single session. So if I understand that, I know that it doesn't matter what time it is, I can catch on average 300 pips every single session, 1500. If I look at this current session that's going on right now, since market open, which, what time does it usually start? At 7. So we'll just say 7. So at 7, yeah, does it usually, it goes off of 7, right? I think that's when it starts, 7. Asian session starts at, yeah, because that's that middle ground in between. So 7, yeah. So if I'm looking at it, same concept here. Asian session really starts at 7 o'clock, which is Hasn't started yet. This is even before Asian session. But even this Sydney session, prices moved over 500 pips before 7 o'clock even happens. 500 pips. I am up over 1,000 pips in total because if I'm up about 550 pips on this first position, on the second position, I am up. Where's the entry at? On the second, what did I enter at on the second position? My second position, 550 pips on the first position. Second position, I am currently up 200 pips. And then on the third position, I am up 80, 100 pips. Now 100 pips. So close to 700 pips in the first hour of market open, which is normal. Once again, normal, especially on Sundays. It's a normal thing. Still gonna flow with my system. Still going to not look at the profit. No idea how much I'm up right now. I am going to constantly continue to keep flowing, seeing that I am basically 100 pips away from that flow state, the first flow state, basically 100 pips away. Yeah, I'm about 100 pips away. Yeah, 100 pips away from my main flow state TP. I'm not going to give back all of this profit whatsoever. Going to constantly keep trailing my stop loss, blowing with the trades. I can take off the sessions indicator. I no longer need it. Now, currently up. Let me actually look at it on Trade Locker. Currently up a 124. Move my stop loss to 103. So what I want to do is manage this trade properly, the right way. This 5 minute candle is still forming, so I can't move my stop loss below this 5 minute candle yet because the candle is still forming. So now with me in this trade, I'm going to have all of my stop losses below this 5 minute wick at 50, 51, 57. And this candle has to actually close before I can move that stop loss. Move the stop losses below here. Price is 100 pips away from take profit, and I'm putting my stop loss 100 pips lower. So regardless, it's still a great trade, great risk for all of the positions. 26 seconds left. Is this candle gonna close above the high? If it closes above the high of the previous candle, price could potentially go bullish the next candlestick. If not, then it could create a lower high and price could start this retracement. Price does not have to fill this gap. I've observed that so many times with gold. Price could take a week before it fills the gap, especially if there's momentum in the market. Still, a lot of momentum in the market. Then price could take weeks for it to fill on trading view. On Trade Locker, there is no gap because that 1 minute candle on Trade Locker, this right here is there's no gap here. Price actually came down when the market opened. It came down and actually created a higher low down here. So let's see, looks like I'm about to get stopped out of all of my positions here. No profit. Yep, stopped out of all three of the positions. Beautiful, beautiful way to start off the day. Beautiful trade so far. So yeah, TP. Flow state, price was basically 100 pips away. I would still consider that being TP. Price was literally 100 pips away in the zone. So to me, that's still classified as a take profit hit. When it comes to me observing and analyzing, examining myself immediately after the trade and not stepping away. I want to examine myself immediately. Um, Managing this trade the way that I traded this, emotional wise and system wise. The system is always number one, but the system was beautiful. I followed the system at the beginning, followed the system market open. I followed my analysis, my observation, and first opportunity entered on the candlestick closer. I did not enter not a single trade out of all three of the positions, not a single one of them. I did not enter before the candle closer. So that's a win. So that means every single position I took was a part of the system. Every single position was not based on my emotions or feelings or momentum. Every position, the candle closed. The first position, it's irrelevant to see on TradingView because there's a gap. There's no gap on TradeLocker. The first position, the candle actually closed. The second position, this candle actually closed right here. That gave me the opportunity to enter here. And then the third position, which was this one, this candle actually closed above. So that gave me the opportunity to enter there. More than enough. And the way that I managed this trade was beautiful. I managed it according to structure and I didn't manage it according to profit because emotions wise, I could have easily closed up here, but the whole concept of my trading is maximize the profit, minimize the reward. Me just closing just because I see a profit number and just here, that's not a system and that's not consistent. So the fact that I managed the trade, I managed the system, I followed the system for the entry, the trade management, the scale-ins, and the exit. So this was a perfect trade. Emotion states, emotional wise, the emotions that I experienced during the trade. The initial market open was a nothing essentially on market open. What I would say is looking at two pairs at first because I was seeing a setup on GA and I was seeing a setup on gold as well. They both had clean setups, but I wanted to stick to me knowing that gold is my number one pair and me knowing that gold is always going to give me better moves and gold is the main pair that I study. So at first I was looking at two pairs trying to get a potential setup on both GA. It ended up even playing out. GA ended up playing out because the analysis that I was looking at on GA was as long as price maintained below here, which it did, I'll be looking for sales back down into this low and then down into the lows flow state way down here. GA did play out, but me focusing on that one pair, which is gold, I was able to gain way more from the gold position than I would have from looking at two. So catching myself in the midst of it and just honing in and focusing on one pair, which is gold, which is emotional wise, that was beautiful because if I didn't and I was trying to trade gold and GA at the same time, I wouldn't have been able to scale in the other two times that I did, and I wouldn't be able to manage the position the way that I did. As the trades was playing out, I was sitting here watching the moves, watching the candlesticks. I wasn't analyzing based on emotions. I was just focusing on candlestick by candlestick, and I was doing my mobility because I was not just gonna sit here for an hour and do nothing. So I did a couple mobilities. One thing I can do better is do more, stand up more. Next time that I'm gonna sit here for however long is stand up more, do more leg stretches, do more mobility things. Just here and just focus on it. So emotional wise, that was good. It's actually a pretty good setup, pretty good self examination, pretty good observation for myself. And that is it. That is a trading, that is pre market analysis, actual live trading, and then my post market, my post trade is the self examination that I make sure I do every single time after the trade happens. And one thing as well is I was very, very cautious, very, very aware of all the emotions that I was experiencing. And I've observed and noticed a lot is when I speak less and I observe more, and I just speak less, especially while I'm trading, there's I remember a lot more. If I'm just speaking and talking for, if I know a candle, I have to wait two candlesticks to close, and I'm sitting there talking for 10 minutes for two 5 minute candles to close. I don't remember. Like, I can't remember a lot. But when me speaking only when it needs to be, only when a decision is about to be made, that allowed me to remember everything that I said as I was trading. I remember the key points so clear and so easy, and I remember the emotions that I had. It gave me more space for silence. It gave me more space for clarity. So that's one thing that I actually genuinely do love, and I'm gonna do that so much more. A lot more is just observe more and only speak when decisions are being made, and not just speaking randomly and just hold it in and just keep within and just observe. Price is about to hit this alert. I don't need to be in this no more. Now I'm going to zoom out, look for the next opportunity. Price closed above, and price is actually breaking above this 4 hour zone. So looking at it from a bigger perspective, I need to see a two candle close above. Price already gave me the one candle closed above at Friday. Now, if the second candle within the next 2 hour closes above, that would confirm that this major consolidation that gold has been in since the beginning of the month, basically. Gold has been ranging for the past basically 20 days. And me understanding how ranges work, I see them more in the lower time frames and I see the moves that happen. If gold is ranging on a 4 hour time frame and it breaks out of that range to whichever direction, more times than not, gold is going to head in a significant move as long as that area continues. The only way that would not be valid if price, this is a fake out and price breaks back below here, then that invalidates that this was broken. Or if something news related happens, then I can easily, of course, drop the market because that's why gold dropped so aggressively the way that it did here. This is fundamentally um this is backed off of fundamentals, and that's why price consolidated for so long. But if price consolidated for market wise, that's because there's 5 days in a market, so 4 weeks. So that's 4 weeks market wise, like 4 trading weeks. 4 trading weeks, the market has consolidated. If that is the case, and gold continues to keep going bullish in no reality whatsoever, it would be foolish of me, and I would be breaking my system because it doesn't even align with my system. That would be leaning into my own understanding, and that would mean emotions are taking over for me to even fathom the idea of taking a sell. If price maintains above this area and price is no longer trading sideways, price is trading sideways. So when it was trading sideways, see, I knew it was the tariffs that why gold shut up. But I'm gonna read that in a second. If price continues to keep trading sideways, I'm not looking to take a whole bunch of positions and go long. But now, since price is trading bullish, if it continues to trade bullish, I'm gonna flow. All I need to see is very simple. As long as the 1 minute, and that's why I took this trade and analyzing this and not assuming that price is gonna do anything or whatever. If the market, if the 1 hour and 4 hour are bullish, all I have to do is wait for the 5 minute and the 1 minute time frame to align with bullish. If it's already aligned with bullish, if the 5 minute is already aligned bullish, I'm gonna go down to the 1 minute time frame and see if the 1 minute time frame is aligned with the bullish momentum. If it is, I'm gonna take a trade as soon as I get the opportunity. I'm not gonna wait. If the 1 minute is not aligned with bullish, I'm gonna wait until the 1 minute flips bullish, and then I will take that buy. And if the 5 minute isn't aligned bullish, I'll wait until the 5 minute flips back bullish, and then I will take the buys. As simple as that. 5 minute was already for the actual entry. When I analyzed the market right here, this gap is, let me go to, because it should be, the gap should be filled on forex.com. Yeah. Where did the market open at? Yeah, the gap is filled on forex.com, but did it do the same thing that it did on Trade Locker? Let me see. It did. Yep. Okay, perfect. This is the beautiful right here. So when I was looking at the market already, I already seen that I knew the 1 hour and 4 hour were already bullish. And I looked at the market right here before the market opened. The market opened right here within this candlestick, which is my entry. So at this point in time, because I need to self-examine myself and I need to be able to say exactly why I got in the trade and speak it out loud, because if it didn't align with my strategy, if it didn't align with my system, then the trade that I took was not a valid trade. When price was, I'm not doing a bar replay. I want to use bar replay. When the market was here before it opened, I already determined the 5 minute was already bullish. The 5 minute was already aligned with the bullish momentum. And then once I went down to the 1 minute time frame to confirm was the 1 minute aligned. The 1 minute was already aligned with bullish momentum as well. There's nothing else that I need to wait for me to get into the trade. Market open, price came down, and this candle actually closed back bullish. It created the higher low, and I decided to enter. Oops. Entry was right here, and when I decided to enter here, I actually just put my stop loss below. No, where did I put my stop loss? I put my stop loss below this area because the price failed to hold above here. Then I no longer wanted to be in this trade. Boom, the flow state, the main TP. This is the wrong chart, but I know it's 5180, which was right here. 5180 for the main flow state. Price did its thing when it came to the second entry. Price ended up coming down, created a higher low, entered there, and then came to the third entry, was right there. Now price is just retracing. I can see that on the 1 minute time frame just by looking at the 5 minute time frame. I can already see that the 1 minute time frame is trading bearish. So the 5 minute is still trading bullish. But in order for me to want to look to flow and get back in again, I want to see the 1 minute start aligning back with the bullish momentum. All the time frames have to be in alignment. I'm not taking a buy position when the 1 minute is heading bearish, because that is a retracement. All the time frames need to be in alignment. All my entry time frames, the 1 hour, 4 hour, 5 minute, and 1 minute. The 5 minute, 1 minute have to be in alignment for me to take a buy. And I know the 1 minute time frame is trading bearish because I can clearly see that it's breaking higher highs and higher lows. Looking at 1 minute structure, it's high, higher low, high, higher low, higher 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 high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. In order for me to take a buy, 1 minute has to shift back bullish. And what that would look like for me, understanding market structure, this was the low, this is the lower high. Price came down, matched this low again, came back up, created this lower high, created this lower low. So even if the market was to come right here and stop, I still wouldn't look to just take a buy position. Even if price would just give me a bullish candlestick right here, I wouldn't take a buy position because market structure is not aligned bullish. I would rather wait for an actual confirmation. I'm okay with missing out on, let me go to my actual chart. I'm okay with missing out on trying to assume and guess. Me entering a trade right here, it's foolish. This has nothing to do with my system. Just because price came down and rejected an area of support, price is trading bullish. Yes, price is trading at an area of support. Yes, but there's no candlestick entry for me to enter, and there's no confirmation that price is gonna hold. A line is irrelevant to actual price action. I can have the best I can have the best line on the chart. I can have the most beautiful support resistance. But the thing about, and I've observed and learned this with support resistance, that's why I keep support resistance on as a guideline of where price could potentially head to and could potentially reject. But I don't ever, when price gets to that area, I never assume there's going to be a reaction there. I can't assume. If I do assume, that's not a part of my system. So I'm not going to say I never assume because I'm not perfect. Everybody has emotions. But based on my system doesn't assume that price is going to reject an area. The candlesticks, the market actually tells me, because I've observed and learned with like market structure, not market structure, but support resistance. Support resistance is relevant to what is currently going on. At this point in time, at 3 in the morning, there was there was so much momentum in the market. This area of support was irrelevant at this time because there was so much support, so much momentum. If I would have assumed emotion wise that price was going to reject this area, it would have been foolish. I could have missed out on so many setups right here at 6 in the morning on Friday, January 30th. It respected it. When the market opened here at 6 in the morning, it was irrelevant. It didn't respect it. Especially, I'm gonna read what happened with the tariffs, but they didn't respect it. So for me, it's the candlesticks tell me if the key area is holding or not. Not price is getting into an area and just one rejection. I need to see price actually hold as support, and it has not done that yet. And the market structure is still not aligned. 1 minute it's still trading downwards. 1 minute is still trading bearish. For me to take a buy right now, that would be based on my emotions, and that would not be with the foundation. Because I have the foundation of my trading is God at the center of my foundation, but with my system, price has to actually be flowing with the market structure. If I were to take a buy right here, right now, just because price is trading at this area, I don't have a area to put my stop loss. If I had to truly put a stop loss, I would have to have a stop loss like super duper low, and that's irrelevant. That's stupid. That's honestly just stupid and foolish for me to do. So I don't need this trim on. I don't like trading with trim ons. So what I can do is take this off, and just wait for the market to flip back bullish and give me a bullish wave. I'm just going to set an alert at 51.47, and then I will set another alert. There's not really any other area because I know I have areas below, but the next area of support is like way below here. There's a minor area which was the previous high, which was up here. Price could potentially come back and retest this because it was resistance before. It held its support back here in the past. So this is a guideline of if price does continue to keep retracing. This is the next area that I could potentially, which was exactly right where that gap was at. This is the next area that I can observe to look to take a position. So what I'll do is set an alert at 51. We'll do 5120. So now that I have my alert set, now all I have to do is just wait, and whatever time the market gives me the setup, then I will take it. And I've observed and learned over the years. The system fits for me, and this is why I love wisdom, and why wisdom is my teacher, and wisdom is my guider. Wisdom teaches me all things, and I lean into wisdom, and wisdom is my wife. Wisdom is my best friend because wisdom has taught me to flow with the market and not assume, not just, oh, I'm gonna just trade London session, I'm gonna just trade New York session, I'm gonna just trade Asian session. Wisdom didn't teach me that. The world taught me that. The world taught me to trade sessions. To me, it just never made sense for me to trade session. If I know gold on average moves 200 to 300 pips every session, every single session, gold moves on average 200 to 300 pips. Asian, London, and New York. Why would I miss out on opportunities if a setup is here? I'm not holding trades for 18 hours. I'm holding the trades for as long as it presents itself. It wouldn't make any sense for me to focus on a specific session. What makes sense is to focus on less pairs. And if I trade less pairs, then I have more focus and I can hone in more on those setups. Because with gold, this entire move right here was, once again, like every single session, gold moves over 500 pips. Just this before the Asian session, the Tokyo session, this was Sydney session. This was before 7 o'clock. But before this, price already moved 550 pips. Price already moved 550 pips. Within the next Asian session, within this current session, prices has a high probability of moving. And look, this is just Tokyo session. This is just at 7 o'clock. Prices already moved 350 pips. Price moves 300 pips on average every single session. It's just catching the a piece of it, however many pips. If I catch 100 of that 300, I'm cool. If I catch 200 of it, I'm cool with that. I would rather just focus and mainly hone in on one pair, two pairs. Rarely, I don't even look at three pairs that much. The only pairs that I have over here is gold is the only pair that I'm trading. But all the other pairs is the study session pairs that we go over when we're doing study sessions in the community and the mentorship. That's where we'll look at pairs and dissect the pairs and go over that. But me, I'd rather just trade gold and just hone in on gold and catch every single opportunity on gold that's possible, because there's not a single week where gold does not give any setups. Not a single week where gold had zero setups whatsoever. And I'd rather just hone in and focus on this. Beautiful setup, beautiful trade management. Yeah, now I just gotta wait for structure to shift back bullish. I see prices consolidating here on the 1 minute time frame. Still not shifting structure because price still never broke above the actual lower high on the 1 minute, because this is the lower high here. This was the lower low. Price created lower highs here, but I never came down and closed below to confirm that this can continue to keep trading lower. So price breaking above here right now is not relevant to me. Once again, I'll always rather miss out on a couple hundred pips to follow my system versus following my emotions trying to catch catch an extra 100 pips. I'd rather flow and have a higher probability of winning going along with the actual trend than trying to assume the bottom of a move and assume that price is going to reject the reverse off in the area. To me, that's foolish. That doesn't work for my system. That's not a part of my system. Yeah, I'm chilling on gold. What time is it? It's 7:23. I'll see what happens here in the next few hours. See what the market does. Candlesticks have to close. I'm not assuming anything until price gets to my alert. Even with this, the 5 minute candle could close back above here, which would create a bullish candle, but it's still not aligned with structure. And if I were to assume that the same exact thing happened here, this created a higher low. This created a higher low rejection. Very next candle came down. This could be a bullish candlestick. The very next candle came down, because I observed and learned from market structure. It's just a little tidbit. More times than not, if price is heading bullish and price actually breaks structure, more times than not, price is going to continue to keep going in that direction. It's rare that price trends boom, boom, higher highs, higher lows, and then breaks structure and then shoots back up. That happens when news, fundamental, something happens news wise. So for me, if I understand that this is the lower high and structure is broken here, more times than not, it can easily happen. More times than not, price isn't gonna break structure here, then shoot all the way back down here. If price breaks structure and continues to keep trading bullish, then I would rather wait on that confirmation than to just jump in right here. I'm gonna actually move this alert up a little bit higher. Boom. And I would like to see the actual confirmation confirmed close above here, which would be that two candle close above. I want to keep my drawings up for a second so I can actually analyze it and see. But this is the next previous resistance where price held as resistance here. So what I want to see is price actually one candle close above and then two candle close above, and that would give me that confirmation. Wait for that higher low, and then once that higher low forms, if it does, then I could enter wherever that candlestick gave me the entry, and then it comes to the stop loss, which has its own system, which is a system as well. Every single thing about my trading is systematic. It doesn't, I can have any emotion, any emotion could be present and my system still aligns with it, which is why I decided to build my foundation based on the rock, which is the Most High and Yah and His Word, because the Word says there's a time and season under the sun for everything. So if I know that there's a time and season under the sun for every single thing, the Word says there's a time to weep, there's a time for sorrow, there's a time for war, peace, joy, there's a time for every single thing. So I understand that me thinking I'm going to be robotic and not have any emotions and be emotionless in the market and I'm always going to be calm every single time of the day, every single time I come to the markets, me assuming that is disobedience. That is foolish. That is leaning into the flesh. Because if God tells me there's a time and season under the sun for everything, that means I know that not every single time I come to the markets, I'm going to be calm like how I am now. Calm, chill, relaxed. No, my mind is super clear, nothing going on in my mind. I'm super calm, super collected, I'm super focused. I know that it's not going to be the case every single time. I may come to the market and, I have a lot going on. I may have a lot going on. I may come to the market and be in sorrow. Who knows, right? I may come to the market and whatever. So if I know that, I have to have a system in place, which is the one of my foundations. If I could find it. Where do I have it at? I think I have it in my Notion somewhere. Let me see. But I know that one of the foundations, because the 10 pillars of my foundation for this is, let me see something. See if I can find it. But my system has to be able to operate in every single season. If the word tells me there's a time and season under the sun for everything, my system has to be able to operate in every single season of the market. You see. Where is it at? It's in my other one. Where is it at? Let me find it. It's in my other votes. Should be right here. Might be this one. Yeah, definitely this one. Let me share this. Where's that roll at? Where's the roll? Where's the roll? Where's the roll? Now I got this. Close break above. There's one. Now that structure is broken. Now that structure is broken, I can see the shift within here that happened here with this higher low here as well. Now let me take this off because I no longer need this. Now all I would have to do is if the market gives me another higher low, then I will enter after that higher low. If price doesn't give me a higher low, then I'll wait until I get another opportunity above here. So being that this happened, if I would have entered right here, if I would have entered this trade right here, that would be foolish and that would be an assumption. That would not be a part of my system because yes, price did create this, but price never shifted and broke back structure above here. So I would have assumed that price was going to start breaking above here, not actually get confirmation. Now that I actually see that this has been broken, more times than not, price is not going to create this high and then come all the way back down here and create a lower high. If that's the case, price has a high probability of continuing to keep going back down lower. So all I have to simply do is just wait for the market to give me an opportunity to get in for a buy There's all this room since the 5 minute is aligned with bullish and now the 1 minute is aligned with bullish. That means I can be very precise with my entries. All I got to do is wait for price to come down and give me a higher low, potentially wherever it gives me that higher low, and that could be a bullish candlestick or a rejection candlestick. And once that candlestick forms, then I will enter. And for me, I gotta ask myself, where would my stop loss have to be that would invalidate this entire setup? And that would be very simple. It wouldn't be below here because price could come down and stop out that position here and still be bullish. It would be below here. So if price breaks below here, that invalidates the bullish move. So as long as, can I take that line off? Whatever. And the first TP is going to be up into the highs. The second one is up into the 4180. But of course, my main flow state is still way up into 54.50. This is the main flow that I'll be looking at for gold. The main TP over the week, 54.50 is the main flow state. It's a lot of pips to go. That is a couple of thousand pips. It's over 2,000 pips to go. Because this is the previous lower high. It's 2,000 plus pips to go. There's no reality that I'm going to sit here and try to rush and jump into any position. But I'm going to just focus on my first key areas, which is this one, then this one, then this one. Especially since gold is finally breaking out of this range and potentially cloning this and heading up higher, which lines up with this area, which lines up with that area above there. So now I know that I have so many more, and me understanding that, that's why I don't focus, and I've observed by doing that, I don't have to catch the bottom of moves. Because just because I miss out on the initial bottom of that move, that doesn't mean I'm not just gonna sit here and, oh, I'm never gonna get into the trade. Because I already, once I have my overall flow state, this is in the way. Once I have my overall flow state, then I can, boom. This other trade is already done. I can take this off. I don't need this no more. Now I'm just focused on this. See if I get a higher low. Once I get that confirmation, then I will enter and I will move my stop loss. I will not move my stop loss. I'll enter my stop loss below. And going to look to flow. First one is here, since I know price is overall bullish. You can target here, but flowing up into 51, 250. Gotta wait on the candlestick closure for an entry. If I don't get a candlestick closure, I'm not entering. This right here would be a pretty, if I were to enter, if the market gives me an opportunity to enter right now, this would be a pretty decent stop loss. So that means this would be a beautiful trade. This would be catching the move at the low, at the bottom of it. Because if price breaks below here, it's higher probability that price is going to actually break lower and continue to trade lower. What time is it? 7:35 after the 5-minute candle closed. 5-minute candle closed above. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Understanding support resistance. 2 candle closes above. Let me take this off. The first candle closed above here. Support resistance. The first candle closed above. Right here. 1 candle closed above. 2 candle closed above. Now all I need is a higher low. The 1 minute is already aligned. The 5-minute is already aligned. Every time frame is aligned. Now all I need is just a bullish candlestick, a bullish variation, an entry for me to get in. I don't need to wait for anything else on the 1 minute time frame. I don't need to wait for any more confirmations. All I need is a bullish variation. Boom. That is it. All I needed was, this looks ugly on TradingView. Let me go to the actual one. TradingView, Trade Locker gave me a morning star. right here. This is what it looks like on not trading view, trade locker. Might just start looking at trading view. Nah. I like looking at trading view on the Oanda charts because I get to actually see the gap. I get to actually like see the gaps that form. Forex.com, these charts, it doesn't show the gaps. I like to see the gaps that happen and the gaps that form. So I'm gonna just keep it on that one. But price gave me a morning star. Got my bullish candlestick entry. So now I have more than enough. Boom, stop loss that would invalidate this setup would be here. And my take profit, I am going to look to target the highs first here. Looking to target the next high. Since the market is trending, I'm going to actually trend with the market. Next DP is going to be up into the next resistance range, which is here first and then up into here. 50, 52, 15, 52, 20, anywhere within this range. And then I'll look to still flow way up into the 50, 540. But for right now, I'm just going to focus on the areas that I see and understanding that even though it gets to that area, I'm not going to immediately close the position because price gets to that area, because that would once again be foolish, because price has to actually tell me that it's rejecting that area and holding. But with this position, this is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The first trade, this was a more precise because it was directly after that 1 minute. This one has a decent amount of room to fluctuate and do what it wants to do. So I know that if I were to lose, then for me, I would want to wait for however long the market does. If the market does come back down here and immediately stops it out, then that means this is the next lower high. And I would want to see price actually start shifting back structure to give me that bigger higher low. Then I can look to flow a lot further with it. But it's no point in me going down to the 1 minute time frame and trying to see this move play out and trying to get all the extra stuff right here, because I can just clearly see what's going to happen. I already got my entry. So now when it comes to self-examination, did I follow the system? Yes, simple as that. 5 minute was trading bullish, 1 minute was trading bullish. I got a morning star on the 1 minute time frame. Was my stop loss a part of my system? Yes, my stop loss is in an area that would invalidate this entire setup. So everything that I did with the entry, everything that I did with the trade was valid. Was my risk valid as well? Yes, because I'm not even risking what I even made on the other position, so the risk is still valid as well. Not over leveraging, not up in the list, not up in the risk based off of that one win, well, the three positions, but based off of that trade. So I could still lose this trade and still be in profit for the day, which is perfectly cool with me, because I know that if I'm looking to flow up here potentially, well, I know that if as long as if structure continues to valid, I'm actually looking to flow way higher. So that's over a 1-2. It's a lot of R multiple. That's a lot of R multiple. A lot of R multiple. 12 plus. I am definitely willing to risk 1 R multiple to potentially gain 12 R plus, depending on the market, depending on what it does this week. Simple. And now I just actually make it even simpler. I'm going to set an alert, move my alerts down to my stop loss, because since I'm already in the trade, all of this that's in between is irrelevant. What will allow me to scale in again is if price does start breaking above the highs and starts giving me another higher high, breaking the structure and then giving me that higher low. And then what would that do would validate, if price does create a higher low, that would validate wherever that higher low forms right here. So then I can move my stop losses from below here to above here, which would cut that risk in half of this position. And if price were to give me another higher low, I could risk half of the position, so it'll be still the full risk. I wouldn't end up losing more on a position. That'd be foolish. I wouldn't end up losing more depending on where that higher low forms, and then I can look to keep on doing that as long as structure continues to be valid. And if price were to just break and just shoot all the way down, I understand that that's just a 5 minute time frame. 5 minute time frame not aligning. I still know the overall trend is bullish, clear as day bullish. Like one hour structures, higher highs, higher lows, structures. It's a lot that the price has to do for it to start flipping back bearish. So since I understand that, I can beautifully, easily just let the market do its thing. And now since I'm not looking to scale in or anything right this second, I'm just going to set my alerts here and going to so my computer stops freezing. I'm gonna just set my alerts and I'm going to read the Bible and go get something to eat. That is it's let me see. We got people in the live. What's going on? What's going on, guys? Appreciate you all for pulling up and being a part of this 2 hour trading session. But I am going to go ahead and call it for right now. I will do a live eventually, whatever. But hopefully you all have a blessed. If you guys are watching and have any questions, definitely let me know real quick before I do hop off. If not, then I'm gonna hop off in the next like minute or so because I know it has to catch up with the live has to catch up with what I'm saying because I know it's like a 15-second delay on a live. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And if not, that's one thing that I've observed and learned when it comes to this whole fundamental stuff. Unless it's actual data, I don't care. Because Trump says that he's gonna do 60,000 things, but he never does it. So him saying something, it's going to make the market move. It's going to make it have a reaction. But him confirming it is going to actually confirm the trend, the wave of the market. Trump can say something that he's gonna do something with tariffs. And what that would do with the market is that his initial saying it is going to give the market that volatility. That's why a lot of times if he says something or like something is just said, the market will have a move and it's not going, it has a move and it comes back. But if it's actually confirmed, if Trump actually, because it says that Trump confirmed the new duties would take effect immediately, although it remained unclear whether he had signed any official document. If he didn't sign no official document, that means it's not official. So I'm not going to say that, oh, Trump, because all of these is very, very key words. President Trump announced plans, meaning he's planning to do it. He didn't do it yet. So if he plans to do it, that means it's not confirmed. To raise global tariffs from 10% to 15% following the Supreme Court's rejection of his reciprocal tariffs, Trump confirmed the new duties would take effect immediately, although it remained unclear whether he had any had any signed official document. I understood that when the market opened, so I understood that there was going to be volatility in the market, and there was. That's why there was this volatility in the market from that initial reaction to what he said. The initial reaction. if he actually does sign the document and confirm it, that's when you see the market, because this right here could just be still once again a fake out. Price was in this range for a while. That initial reaction could be the fake out, and he didn't confirm it, and price ends up starts trading back below. But he confirms it, and it actually is valid. That would confirm that price is gonna maintain above this area and continue to trade higher. It's as simple as that. That's all I use fundamentals for. I look at actual data. I don't care about what analysts said. I don't care about what they think is gonna happen. I don't care about what people. I don't care about what possibility assumptions. I don't care how experienced of an analysis that person is. I don't care who it is. I don't care what people think Jerome Powell is gonna say or not say. I don't care what they think the government is gonna do. The Federal Reserve raise interest rates, lower rates. I generally don't care. What I do care about is the actual data. What did they actually do? Because we live in a world of corruption, and that's one thing I've learned. They can easily make you believe something and have you a certain way, and then they completely do something different. If you just look at the world, that has happened so many times, countless times, over and over and over again. Even like with the like shutdowns, um, saying that there could be a shutdown, there's never no shutdown. Saying there's gonna be tariffs, there's never no tariffs. Saying they're gonna invade and bomb certain places, and they don't do it. It's all scare tactics, because when you put fear into people, you can control people. And people with high ranking status in Satan's kingdom, because these are all just puppets, but people with high ranking status in Satan's kingdom, they understand how to manipulate people. They understand how to control people. And they understand that the easiest way to control people is to, for one, give somebody a high rank, put them in a high ranking position, and instill fear into them. As simple as that. You will listen, most people will listen to what President Trump has to say versus what Seer has to say. Because Trump has a higher position than me, and Trump can make decisions that can change the entire economy. So, in order to control people, we're going to put our puppet in a high position, and we're going to make him say and do things that pushes out the agenda. That's why people will literally go to war and have all these big debates and, support Trump, have the MAGA and the hats and all that type of stuff, because he's their god. But nobody would do that. I'm not saying nobody, but most people, they wouldn't do that with me, because I'm not in the position that he is, and I'm not a part of Satan's kingdom. It's as simple as that. And when I understand that, and I know that, I understand that this world is run by demon. I understand that I'm on YouTube. This is not the community. I'm grateful that I keep catching myself, because I want to say what I want to say, but I got wisdom to know that I can't say certain things on these platforms. But the world is run um, by PDFs and wicked people, the enemy. Satan runs this world. The devils and demons, high ranking demons. That's what this world is run by. And there's nothing to be afraid of. And I just observe and understand that these people that are making these decisions, they're all just puppet. And it's the decisions that they make are not to help people. They're actually there to control and manipulate people. And it's just judgment. It's what the word says that is going to happen. Everything that the Bible says is going to happen is happening. Nothing new is under the sun. This is all prophecy playing out. And it's my responsibility to be wise and not put my trust and faith in man. And not, if I know that these people are demonic and these people are reptilians and these people are being controlled, because you can't even say that on YouTube. They're being controlled by the people over there. Those are the people that run the world, the people over there. But they're being controlled by those people over there. The word talks about that. And why would I trust what demons say? That's why I need to see actual data, what actually happens. Because all of this, even the market, understand that it's not here for our benefits. It's here for their benefits because we are making hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, us as, retail traders. But understand that these people that are truly making this money, they're making millions, billions, and trillions of dollars. They're printing the money. They just don't tell you that they're making this much money. They just don't tell you that. They just don't post that. Understand that there's a lot going on behind closed doors that they don't reveal. They show you what they want you to see. They show you what they want you to see. They make the market do what they want to do. It's one big, and that's what happens. Understand that this world runs off of money. People believe in the world and Satan because he deceives the whole world. He has put systems in place, and he has taught the world to believe that you need money in order to survive. So all these puppets that do all these things for money and control, they believe that. You truly believe that you need money to survive. You don't. You don't need a single dollar to survive and flourish and live in this world. You don't need money to have a family. You don't need money to live in a house. You don't need money to have transportation. You don't need money at all. You can do it because everything that God provided was for free. You ask yourself, and He's shown me that God has revealed that to me because I look back at the Word. They had way more kids than on average we have now. On average, the average household is 3 kids, 2 kids, right? 2, 3 kids. And the reason why, if you ask most people why they don't want any more kids, the number one response is it's too expensive. It's too expensive to have kids. It's too much stress. It's too much X, Y, and Z. And when you don't have God, and for one, when your relationship is not based that God with God is the foundation, you're not gonna want to have kids. You're not gonna want to have more kids. But when you both man and wife, husband and wife are centered with the Most High, the word tells us to be fruitful and multiply. Multiply means to add on. Multiply isn't just a single digit. Multiply is adding more and more and more. Back then they had so many kids, but yet they didn't have currencies and all of that. Why is that? Because back then they actually used their hands. Back then they weren't lazy. We live in a lazy generation. The system has corrupted most people to be lazy, right? Most people are lazy because they knew that, and what they decided to do was take every single thing that God has made free for us, and they decided to patent it to them, and they decided to put a price tag on it to control people. Back then, they were building their own houses out of wood, clay, all of this. Back then, they were nomads. They were willing and they weren't attached to the things that they had. When the Most High was saying, pick up your things and leave, Lot, when he was talking to Lot, pick up your things and leave, he picked it up and left. He didn't care about that type of stuff. They didn't hold that. They didn't care about the house. They didn't care about the cars. They didn't care about none of that. They had everything that they needed with God. So they were nomads. They were very active. They were hunting their own foods. They were very skilled. They were very craftsmen. They were crafting their own tools. They were crafting their own materials. They were growing their own farms, planting their own things, and that's what their children would do. Remember, look at what's his name? Who was it? David? It was David or Joseph or both of them. But like Joseph or David, I can't recall. But they tend to the cattle. That's what their job, and it was young. So the kids, instead of the kids watching TV and playing video games and scrolling through social media and doing TikTok dances and all that, the kids were actually being productive. They were teaching the kids how to, grow. They were teaching the kids how to build things. That's what it's supposed to be. And we've just become so reliant on the systems that they have for us, which is their whole agenda, that it's like you can't do anything on your own. Even wash clothes, right? You gotta have a washing machine and dryer and X, Y, and Z, but you can wash your own clothes. You don't need a washing machine to dry to wash your own clothes. You can build your own houses. You don't need to buy a house. You can build your own house. It doesn't have to be a five-story mansion. You can have people that know how to build houses and you build your own house and you live in it. Why do you have to pay for water that is free? It's simple. Why do you have to pay for fruits and everything that is free? That's simple. So that's what they want you to do. That's what the system is. That's what the system is here for, to deceive and to control people. It gets people to be lazy. So when they start pushing out their agenda, do research on Agenda 20 space 30. Do research on that. Understanding that they're doing a new world order. Do research on that. These AIs, do research on that. Everything that they're doing, the market of beasts, everything that they're doing is they're fattening up people for the slaughter. They're getting people to rely on them so much to the point that when they start taking away things and they start forcing you to comply with certain things in order to see it. And if you want a prime example, look back in 2020, right? Look back in the planned. It was a pandemic. Go read the files. You already see that all the pandemic that was planned. Go read the files. But back then, what was the case? You could not enter a store unless you had a mask on. You had to be 6 feet apart. If you didn't have, and I observed that at school, like when I was, because I was when I was at Clemson for that 1 year. I observed that we could not go to class. We could not roam around campus. We could not go anywhere unless we got tested for that. And if you were positive, you had to be secluded. They had like this. I never was positive, but I know they had. I know people that were. You had to be in this like hotel. They had like a separate hotel, like a separate space for those people. You had to be secluded there for like a week straight. Like you couldn't even leave your room. They would leave the like your food and everything. They would leave it at the door, and you couldn't leave your room. So if you didn't get the vaccine, if you texted not vaccine, if you didn't get the whatchamacallit, if you didn't get the test, you couldn't go to class, you couldn't do nothing, you couldn't go around campus. And I vividly remember that because this was before I gave my life to God. And what that did, and I understand because I experienced how they control people with their systems, because that used to put fear in me. And I used to put fear in the people around me. But me personally, I used to be afraid every single time that we had to go take that test. I used to dread it. I used to just hope because I didn't back then. I wasn't one with God, so I wasn't like praying and all that. But I used to just hope every single time I was in fear. Like, I hope I don't get positive. It'll be times where I felt like a certain way. I felt like sick or whatever. And I'm like, yo, I just hope I don't get test positive for it. I hope every single, because we had to take it every week. Every single week we had like a deadline to take it. And every single week I would always hope, I think it was every week or every 2 weeks or whatever. But I used to always hope that I used to get, that used to instill fear in me because I didn't want to be secluded and, away from that. And I remember, um, like back then when it was heavy, we couldn't go into certain like Walmart and stuff. We couldn't go into the store unless we had a mask on. If we didn't, not only were we scrutinized by the workers, we were scrutinized by the people as well. The people were so fear mongered to the point where they were getting mad and upset. You need a mask, X1Z, blah 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 blah. All of that to come to find out years later that the mask did absolutely nothing. The mask didn't do a single thing. It didn't prevent anything. And I remember a scenario once again to show that how they can control. They sell you the problem and then they sell you the solution. And what they do is Satan is not stupid. Satan is very smart. He's cunning. That's why the word says, "Be wise as harmless as a dove, wise as a serpent." Satan is very smart. Satan knows how to manipulate people because Satan knows the Bible. Satan manipulated Eve, and Satan didn't go to Adam. Satan went to Eve. He knew what he was doing. Satan was very, very smart. And I vividly remember, I'll never forget it. And back then, I just knew that it shows that God chose us in the womb. And I always had that, I would always like question things. And certain things didn't make sense to me. And number one thing was back then on campus, right? They offered us, it was like 3 prizes. They said that if you got that, because you can't say that on social media. That's why I love the community, because I can talk freely in there. I can say whatever it is I want to say here. I just have to use wisdom. I talk slow anyway, so I know how to catch myself, but I'm able to freely speak. And prime example like that, even with these platforms control. It's they can say and do everything that they want to do in the music and talk about how they be eating children and all of this. They talk about that publicly, pizza and all that. They literally admit that they are eating children online, and that's promoted. That's TV shows. These are popular people that get paid millions. But when we speak out against the truth, I mean, speak out and spread the truth, you get censored, and you got to understand how to maneuver. That's what wisdom calls for. But they would tell us it was 3 prizes. You would get and they knew what they was doing. The prizes that they gave was specific for students. The first prize, because if you got that, if you got that thing that they were promoting back then, if you got that, then the first prize was like back then, what was it, 2020, 20, yeah, 2020, 2021. So it was like the newest MacBook Pro, like the newest MacBook. That was one thing. I think that was the first prize. Like the newest MacBook was the first prize, and it was, I forgot the other two, but I remember the top one was a MacBook. And the way for you to be entered to get that was you had to go get that. And that was actually ridiculous to me. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna get that. That's foolish to me. That's stupid. I just never believed in that anyway. I'm not gonna get that. Um but that was a way, and me analyzing that scenario now that I'm awoken, the God has blessed me with the eyes to see. It shows that He was always protecting me. He was always there, and now I just use wisdom and discernment. And my fear of the Lord is greater, and I have no fear of the enemy when you have the fear of the Lord and you have God directing your path. So that's why it's just wise to question these things, understand what's going on, and once again, using wisdom and discernment. That's why I love trading gold, and I'm blessed that God has blessed me with trading, because I can use wisdom and discernment to understand what's happening in the market, understand why gold is shooting up the way it is. It's not a coincidence. It's not just random that gold is just shooting up. It's not just random. This was all planned. This is all a part of the system, because we're getting closer and closer to the agenda. This is why gold is shooting up from not the worldly type, not from a worldly perspective, from actual wisdom and prophecy. The whole point for them is to crash the dollar. Back then, the dollar was popping. They wasn't pushing out their agenda on the one world currency. Back then, cryptos wasn't too crazy. Digital currency wasn't too crazy. Now they're pushing out their agenda for the digital currency, one world currency, where you no longer need the dollars. Now that they're pushing out their agenda, they need the dollar to collapse. They need people to stop putting trust and faith in the dollar. So what do? They increase unemployment, they increase inflation, they make people stop putting their trust in the dollar, they raise the prices of things, they control people. So when they push out the one world currency, when they push out their digital currency, people are going to comply with it. Super simple. I was little testimony, right? I was at the grocery store today. After I finished working out, I wanted to go to the grocery store and I literally got five things. Five things. I got some beets, like some organic, just regular beet juice, some organic pomegranate juice, some like organic chocolates, and it was this organic coconut spread that they had, and some sauce, like some sauce to cook with. I got five things and spent 40 plus dollars, like 40 to $45 for five things. Five things. The juice was the each juice was about $12, and it was like this big for the juice, and then everything else lined up for an extra $20. And as I was in the store, I was taking the time to analyze the products, and the way that they control people is what they do is the organic stuff, the natural stuff that God created, what they do is they're literally laughing in our face because they make it so much more. They make it cost so much more for you to just get, because I was looking at the juices. The juice that I got, it was just natural, pure pomegranate juice. It's just pomegranates. That's the only ingredient that's in there. And that was $12 and some change. And right beside it, a couple of rows away, it was pomegranate juice, but it wasn't natural. It was bioengineered. It was like it said like what from concentrate and natural flavors and all this stuff like that. That which is not natural. That's not true real pomegranate juice. And the difference is two things. For one, the price was four times less. The price of the bioengineered pomegranate juice was like $3 and some change, like $3.50, so $4 or whatever. And not just that, not only did it cost less, but it was actually a bigger size. The mm, okay, if I'm looking at it from this perspective, right? This would be the size. Let's just look at it from the size perspective of this. This would be the size of the uh bioengineered pomegranate juice, and mine, the one that I got was, let's say, about this size right here. It was like half of that. So you get a double portion for less price. And that's how they control people. And I've observed this. They don't put these things, or they don't just put the organic natural stuff on the aisle of its own. They put it there in the same aisle and they put it right beside their bioengineered stuff. So when you are easily deceived and you just think impulsively, you would easily say that, oh, this pomegranate juice is still healthy. So you would easily pick up the $3 one and you say the other one, that's $12. It's so much less and it costs way more. I'm gonna just get the pomegranate, I'm gonna just get the $3 one. That is the trick. That is how they control people. And that is how they get people, because what they do is put all these ingredients in these products that make you craving more, and that increases obesity, increases your laziness. You always want to eat more and more and more. That's why the system, the whole calorie system, that's why that system is in place. That is a system. They put that the calorie tracking and eating a minimum of whatever calories, and the whole calorie as a whole, that's a system that they planted so people consume more and more and more. Because if you say, well, I only ate 100 calories or 200, people think that, you're going to lose your life. So they put these system into place because people want to maintain and keep up with body and get muscles and all this X, Y, and Z, right? And that's another system as well. I used to be a part of that system. That's one of the biggest systems that when God has woken me up to it, I can't, and I'm so grateful that that God saved me from it, and I'm so grateful that I have the testimony because I was heavy in it. I used to do the whole calories and the creatine and the protein powders and eating 4,000 calories and pulling out the scale and weigh, and I'm so grateful that God has woken me up and shown me the truth about it because I can never go back to it. With God waking me, I can honestly, I can never ever go back to that. I can never go back to the calorie tracking, and because I never even start, and God allowed me. God allowed me to go through that that deception because when I first got into calisthenics and I first got into take care of myself, it had nothing to do with calories. I didn't even know what that was back then. I didn't even know about calorie tracking and all that stuff back then. When I first got into it, I just generally wanted to better myself and I wanted to create better habits. And then I fell into that trap and then I fell into the system. And God allowed me to go through it. And He allowed me to that see the benefits that you get from following their system. But He also showed me that it's at what cost, at what end. And it just doesn't make no sense. Like now I really don't care about physique and I don't look at food now, and it made me, and I understand back then it made me look at food as a number. It made me look at food as a statistic. It made me look at food as just a statistic, as a number, versus food as what God created it to be. And now I look at each individual thing that I put into my body. It's not a matter of how many times I eat or that, it's what I'm eating and what are the benefits of what I'm eating. So when I'm eating eggs, I know the benefits that eggs have. I know what eggs does to my body. It heals my body. I know the things that it does. I know the things that blueberries do. I know the things that sweet potatoes do. Sweet potatoes, it helps your eyesight. It helps your skin. So me understanding that, I don't need to wear glasses. I don't need to wear glasses if I know that that helps my skin. I don't need the worldly things. It helps my skin. I don't need the 15 different um skincare routines. I don't need all their systems. I don't need all their things if this food, it helps with my skin health. So I focus on eating that for that. Bananas, I know how that helps my body. Like even like the pre-workouts, because I used to always do the pre-workout drinks and the pre-workout powders. And I've observed that I can get more energy and natural energy. The citric acid, that's the artificial stuff, the things that they created that's in the drinks, you get that citric acid from lemons. Lemons give you that. Um, you get that pump and everything. You get the same things, the same artificial things that they give you with the pre-workout. The only thing is it just gives you that those jitters. That's all it is. But natural pre-workout, honey, sea salt, lemon, um, beetroot, like beetroot juice, pepper, pomegranate, dates, blueberries, honey, sea salt. I said all that. Coconut water. Coconut water gives you hydration. It's better than Gatorade. It's all these things are natural. Healing wise, garlic heals you. All the medicines and NyQuil, like things that people use to help them go to sleep. NyQuil, the medicines that they make, um, I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce that. Chameleon, that's a root that helps you sleep. Seeded grapes has melatonin in it. That's natural melatonin. It helps you sleep. Stop stressing. Less stress helps you sleep. Less screen time, less social media, less being on your phone. It helps you sleep. It's these natural things that help you sleep more. And you wake up feeling rejuvenated and you feel so much better. And that's how I look at food now. Everything that I eat has a specific purpose. So I don't care about and I listen to my body as well. I understand what my body likes to consume and it doesn't like to consume. Protein, like not, I don't even like to say proteins. I don't even call it proteins no more. But meats, I can eat a lot more meats, and meats are a lot easier for me to eat. But like oats don't really sit right with me. Even like a lot of rice doesn't really sit right with me, so I don't focus on that. Sweet potatoes, they're very, very absolutely amazing. Potatoes sit right with me. Meats, I can eat that all day. Fruits, I can eat that all day. So I just eat that type of things. I've noticed that my body, I can't eat certain things no more. Like ice cream, like the processed ice cream and stuff, bro. I can't even eat that. My stomach be all messed up. But I can drink dairy. Like I like raw milk, which is what we're supposed to be drinking. Anyway, but eggs, cheese, it's just small things like that that you start to realize and observe as time goes on. But yeah, some observations from the things that are going on in today's ages. Even small things like how we sitting down. Like I used to always just sit down and just sit down. That's what allows our body. That's why our body, like naturally, if you just look at yourself and you just analyze your body, that's why a lot of people have the rounded shoulders. That's why a lot of people have arched back, and that's one thing that I'm improving with myself and putting a lot of emphasis on, like with my posture and my body formation. But it's like a lot of people lack body mobility because just sitting around and just doing nothing. It's these small things. That's what the system does. It's just being aware. The more that you are aware, the more that you see. And the only way to actually get this understanding and the only way to actually see these things is you got to get it from wisdom. Wisdom will give you the beauty to see all things. Wisdom gives you the power to see all things. You can't get that on your own. That's just real talk. You can try it as much as you want to. You could try to do it on your own, but wisdom is what teaches you of all things. That's the spirit of wisdom. It will teach you of all things. It will guide you. It will give you an understanding that it won't give you the worldly understanding. When you do it on your own, you're gonna get the worldly understanding, the man-made stuff, the man-made understanding, the scientific understandings. But wisdom gives you the actual truth, the truth behind everything, and you're able to see things a lot clearer. So above all else, above seeking money, above seeking fame, above seeking status, seek wisdom. Get wisdom above everything. With all you're getting, get wisdom and apply it. And if you ask, if you don't know how to get wisdom, if you don't have wisdom, if you want wisdom, ask of God that gives to it freely. But when you ask, and it doesn't just go for wisdom, it goes for everything. If you ask the Most High for something, you have to be obedient for number one. You can't ask something and be disobedient. You got to be actually willing to be obedient. You got to be obedient for one, and then for two, you got to actually have faith and trust that He's going to give you that. You can't have your faith wavering. You can't ask for something and then still living in the world and still assuming and still thinking that you're not going to achieve it. You ask God for wisdom and you don't walk as if you have wisdom. You're not going to have it. Because a lot of the gifts, because God said He chose us in the womb. So a lot of the things we've already have inside us. It just hasn't been awakened yet. You see it in all the movies, the the shows and animes and TV shows and movies and all that. It's like, they didn't have that awakening yet. And then something clicks and they have that awakening and they unlock all these different things. That's what like the movies, but that's actually really really is. That's why you've observed that and you can all remember. I know I remember certain things from me as a child, but it's certain things about me that it was just always different. I had the gifts that I have now, the gifts that God has blessed me with. I see that I already had it. I've been had it. It's not like I just unlocked it. It's already been had it. I just never unlocked it and I never acknowledged it because I can look back when I was a lot younger. I have no idea what age, but I can look back when I was a lot younger and remember scenarios where I used to use the gifts and I didn't even know that I was using the gifts. So it's you already have it, but if you don't believe that you don't have it, you don't have it. I ask for wisdom and I seek wisdom, and I truly believe that I had wisdom. In doing that, I know I have wisdom. I truly believe that I have wisdom. Anything else that I ask for, when you have faith and obedience is the number one thing. Obedience is so key. Like when you ask for something, especially from God, the Most High, when you ask things from Him, you have to be obedient. You have to stop living in sin and stop willfully living in sin with certain things. You can't ask Most High. A foolish man would ask God to deliver them from the spirit of lust. The foolish man will ask God to deliver them from the spirit of lust and to bless him with his wife, his God sent wife, his woman of God, but still continues to watch porn and masturbate. That's what a foolish man does. A wise man who is, let's say you are watching porn and masturbating, but you want to give that up and you truly want to have that, rib. You truly want to have that woman of God in your life. You truly want that. A wise man would not cover up his sins. He would come to God as he is and say, Lord, this is me where I am now. This is what I struggle with. I want you to take this away from me. Lord, please take the spirit. Please take this lust away from me. Please take this addiction away from me. Please allow me to stop looking at women like this. Please allow this curse, this demonic stronghold to be removed from me. And when you ask that, a wise man would ask that and truly stop. A wise man would ask that and never go back to watching porn again. Never open up the websites again. Never masturbating again. And as time goes on, what happens is you actually truly walk in it because you will no longer desire the lust of the flesh because what you've been doing was feeding your spirit. And it was a war where you were going back and forth, but you're no longer feeding your flesh no more, and your spirit is now become so much stronger. Your spirit has ranked up to a level 90, while that lust, while your flesh is at a level 20, a level 10. So you can't easily be tempted by that stuff no more. It gets to the point where it starts to disgust you. Not only does it disgust you, but you've reaped the benefits so much of obedience that you are fearful to be disobedient. You've been blessed with so much from obedience that you don't want to lose that high. You don't want to lose that you've obtained because you know what it was like to be disobedient. You know what it was like to live in sin. You know what that felt like. You know what that was to be lukewarm. And you've become fully on fire and you don't want to lose that. So you have more fear of God and you have more fear of him taking away that peace that he's blessed you with, and you don't want to go back to it. So that is going to be more because every single time you don't went on the streak for however long, you know that every single time that you even think about it, you know that, yo, I can't do this. I can't go back into it because the word says that a man that is delivered from a sin, and if he goes back to that sin, you will have seven curses worse than the one than you started off with. So that puts the fear of God in you, knowing that you've been delivered from it. And if you go back to it, it's going to be so much. It was already hard for you to overcome it. And now it's even harder for you to overcome it the next time. That doesn't mean you can't overcome it the next time. But a wise man wouldn't even put himself in position to do that. A foolish man would try to test God and see if he can, get around it. A foolish man would think that he can have that peace from God and obtain that from God. And a foolish man would start to get prideful and to forget that God gave him the power to overcome that. And what he would do is he would go back into it and he would start saying that he did this and he had the power. And guess what would happen? God would allow that man to fall, or women. God would allow that person to fall. And now it's going to be so much harder for you to get back up because you're going to try to get back up again, and you're going to stay down it's not necessarily stay down, but it's going to be a lot harder. You're going to get attacked a lot heavier. So why put yourself in that position in the first place? And that goes for anything. The spirit of lust roams very, very rapidly. The spirit of lust roams heavily in this wicked and corrupt world. I mean, just read the files. That clear as day shows you that's a demonic spirit. What is that? What is all that linked to? Eating these children and these PDFs and SA, all these children. What is that linked to? Lust. That is linked to a very, very demonic lust. But as a link to lust, you see how dangerous that is. And the Most High revealing this to us, it goes to show that, yo, that's a level of lust that nobody wants to be on. Because the same ones, right, that would be casting, like, same ones that be like outraged about what they're doing to these children, as people should, but the same ones doing that understand that, and they're still the same ones watching porn and masturbating and all that. They are just doing it at a way higher level. They're just wicked and corrupted. But that's just the reality of it. You got to understand that this is the truth of it. There are really people out there like that. And it says that in the word, and God is revealing that and showing that to people, that there are truly, really people out there that are truly wicked and corrupted. And I can't say that word. They're eating these children and they're sacrificing them to who? Their God, which is Baal, because it's this, nothing is new under the sun. The Bible actually talks about Baal, or however you pronounce it. The Bible actually mentions it a lot of times, and it says that that's what they did back then. So we know that nothing is new under the sun. Those same spirits still dwell in Rome, and it's that's what happens when you fall into darkness. So seeing that happens, it's terrible to see. It's truly, truly, truly disgusting to see how that they would literally deceive these women, and these children. And not just that, but the parents would allow that. It just goes to show how corrupted of a world this is. And it's not just that, but when you look and see who are the main people that is doing it, it's the elites. I don't even like to call them elites, they're just puppets. But it's the top people, it's the people, the highest ranking people in the world, essentially. And it's not just from people here or there. And it goes to show people it's the whole two-party system, the whole Democrat Republic. They've literally just been controlling it, deceiving people the whole entire time. It's one big club. They both work together. It's as simple as that. They're both being controlled. You have to vote for one or the other. That's what they do. They give the people as if it's like it's a voice. You have the power to vote, and they think that's so powerful. And when you give somebody some power, they love that. And they know that people love power, people love authority. When you give them a little bit of power, you give them a little bit of authority, you can control them. So they give you the power for you to think that you are deciding as the people who the next president is. When that is all fake. People, the numbers that they be posting on the screens and stuff like that, if they can manipulate all this other stuff, do you truly think they can't manipulate the numbers that are being tallied? And the numbers could be completely for a different, the other president, right? And they change the numbers to make it seem that the other president is winning. That's why when you vote, it's just common sense. I've never voted, but I know how the voting system works. That's why I have so much wisdom. The voting, when you vote, what is it? It's a private thing. They say it's for your privacy. It's just for you, so no one else knows. They tell you when you vote that it's a privacy thing. It's something private. That's why nobody else knows what your vote is. Your vote is anonymous. And they think that, oh, it's, I'm keeping that private. No, that's not the case. They make it private because if they were to tell everybody and show everybody what this person voted for, what that person voted for, you've seen the actual numbers, you would see that the numbers that they're showing you, it doesn't align. with the actual numbers. It's just wisdom to it. That's how they control people. And then you got the whole. It's so crazy how it can. It's not even crazy. It's the word. I can't even say things are crazy no more. It's just the truth. It's not crazy. It's observations, because the word already says this. Just because you rock with another side or another thing, it's automatic. It's like they say, how can we control people? It goes to show how a lot of people lack wisdom. It goes to show that what the word talks about foolish people, a lot of us, I used to be a fool. A lot of people are still fools. And a lot of people were fools, but a lot of people are waking up because the Democrat Republic, right? Let's say somebody's a Democrat and somebody's a Republic. You have no idea. You don't know anything about this other person. You don't know who they are as a person. You don't know the type of person that they are. You don't know their characteristics or none of that. But simply just because they choose to support a different party system than you automatically don't like this person. You automatically have beef with this person. And it's not just one system. That's just one system that they do. They are constantly doing this. And if you awake, you see it. That's one system. Sports teams is another system. Not a single person is on these teams and making money off of these teams. But because one person is, you rock with, I don't know, the Cowboys and whoever the Cowboys rivals are. And just because you rock with another team or X, Y, and Z, during football season, it's constant hate. You constantly don't like this person. Not because of their character, not because of their spirit, not because of their fruits. It's because they rock with a different team. That's foolish. That's another thing. Another system. All these zodiac signs, these demonic signs. That's just witchcraft. Because one person is a Sagittarius. I don't even know how to pronounce these names. But because one person is a Sagittarius or a Libra or a Capricorn and Pisces or whatever the things are, because one person is witch, you don't even know this person. You don't even hasn't spent time with this person to know this person. You automatically categorize this person as, oh, I can't rock. We won't be compatible together. Or you could be literally best friends and sleeping with the devil and becoming best friends with the devil because they are a sign that matches with whatever the program has taught you. Because y'all two signs are compatible. Even though this person is an actual demon in human form, just because your signs are compatible, you rock with this person. All these systems are in place. The whole stereotypical thing, you want to know the biggest system as well? The biggest system is the whole race war. The whole white versus black versus X, Y, and Z. The whole race war, that's the biggest system that they have to control people. It's not about black and white or yellow or green or whatever you use colors. Understand that we come from bloodlines and nations. We come from bloodlines and nations, not skin colors. Not every single black person is an Israelite. It's as simple as that. Not every light skinned person that you see, not every single X, Y, and Z, not every single person just because they're white or black, that means that we come from bloodlines and nations. And they have this whole race war to get people against each other and to go against and fight against each other and all this. It's ridiculous. And we've just been caught into that. And how do they do that? Just I think I said it the other live or the other day. It's like you think about it. If two black people, let's just say black, because not all black people um are Israelites as well. There's tribes and we come from nations, bloodlines of nations. But let's just say two black people, right? The N word. How is it that two black people can say the N word and call each other that, and that's a normal thing? But as soon as somebody of a different nation says that same word, it's all hell break loose. Control, one word, the same skin color as you, we can say the same words, but if somebody else says it, all of a sudden, that's some spirit, the spirit of anger, the spirit of rage comes into that person, and they immediately attack these people and they say X, Y, and Z, and it's all hell break loose. It's disrespectful and all that. It's a whole big thing. And those are the biggest things. Understand, isn't those are the biggest things that go popular on social media. If somebody else says the N word or whatever, I don't even say that word, like, because that's pointless to me. Nobody should be calling themselves that, because those are curses right there. Those are curse words. Because if somebody else calls you that and it causes you to be angry and ferocious, what does that say about that word? Just like with, let's say, two females can call each other bees. They can call it, they call themselves a bad bee, call each other bees, and they just, that's their nickname. But if a man calls a female a bee, then all hell breaks loose. And people don't understand that these words that they say on the regular are demonic. And it says that in the word as well. It says that the wicked woman, she's like a dog. The delusional, the wicked woman, she's like a dog. And what is a female dog? The B word. It's as simple as that. A female dog is a bee. So you are literally calling yourself wicked when you call yourself that. It's just those small things. That's how they control people, and they make it normal, and they make it a regular thing. Be aware of the words that come out of your mouth. How do you practice that? Speak less. Simple as that. Speak less. Wait more. Give more time before you respond to things. And analyze yourself. When you speak, what are the words that are coming out of your mouth? Are you speaking life into your life? Or are you speaking death and curses? And it's not just actual curse words, but it's, what are you saying? Are you saying, oh, you're weak? Or are you saying, you're broke? Are you saying you're sick? Are you saying, you know, you don't X, Y? If you keep speaking death into your life, that's what's going to happen. Because what that does is it forces you to not even put in the work to do what's required. If a overweight person, an out of shape person, keeps telling himself, let's say they're 200 pounds, they keep telling themselves, man, I'm out of shape, I'm fat. Man, I'm saying, it's no point. Guess what happens? Now they get to 250 pounds. Now you've become so much bigger. And you keep telling yourself that, and now you're 300 pounds. You've gotten to the point where you've become so big, to the point where you can't even imagine yourself being small anymore. That's what happens when you allow yourself to go through that. That's why, above all else, like, you got to examine yourself instead of trying to examine everybody else, and instead of trying to prove somebody else wrong and trying to correct everybody else. Correct yourself. Examine yourself daily. Examine how you speak. Examine how you operate. Examine the decisions that you make. Examine the choices. Examine what you do on a day-to-day basis. Examine the people that are around you. Examine the systems that you follow. You can examine yourself all day, every single day. And when you do that, you start to gain wisdom. So, this is 19 minutes left until this 1 hour candle closes. I got the one candle, two candle close above. Now that I'm looking at this, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep that alert right there. What I do want to do is do the same exact thing. I want to do the same exact thing here when it comes to resistance, because price did not close above here. What I want to see is the two candlestick closure above, for this to confirm that price is breaking above this resistance. There's 19 minutes left. If this first 1 hour candle closes above, the next 1 hour candle has to actually close above to confirm that this resistance is being broken, because this 1 hour candle can close above and the next 1 hour candle can close back below. And it's about to be at 9 o'clock, so that means this 4 hour candle is about to close as well. Beautiful momentum. Trade is still valid. When it comes to monitoring this trade and analyzing myself during this trade at this point in time, my entry was beautiful. My stop loss was beautiful. Price came down. I did not jump out of the position. If I would have had a tight stop loss there, that would have stopped me out, and that would not have been a part of my system. Price did come down, came down, created a higher low, came up, created a higher high. Now what price is doing is shifting back that 5 minute structure, lower high, higher high, higher low, lower high, higher low. Now, for this higher high to be confirmed, price at this candle has to close above. Then that next candle closes above, and that'll be that 5 minute time frame shifting back structure. And then I can look to start looking to potentially flow and scale in some more here, because this is a higher low. It is the higher high. So now this is the higher low right here. So now instead of having my stop loss below here, I can now move my stop loss to below here and look to continuously flow. If price comes up, gives me another higher low, I can scale in again there and move my stop loss to wherever that next higher low is. But I'm still looking to flow up into the 52.15, and I'm just gonna flow regardless if that's just this one trade or if I get stopped out at a 1-to-1 because I was up a 1-to-2. The price stops me out at a 1-to-1 and I get back in later. Doesn't matter. I just know that the main flow state is up into here. And for this move right here, price is currently rejecting here. Understand that there's candlesticks have to form. Still a minute left. There's still multiple candles that have to form. This candle can close like this, and then the next candle comes back down, and price is in this range. So I know that I still once again have to wait on multiple candles to close. At least like not 9, but like 10, 11 o'clock. So since price already broke above there, what I'm gonna do is set another alert above the high. Set another alert above the high. And now just monitor from this aspect of things. Adjust this. I don't need this line on it. Honestly, might even take off the drawing. I might take off this tool because I don't need this, because I already have. I'm already in a position. I don't need this. That's what it's just like visual representation. Yeah, and I could just have this right here, and I can actually move this alert to right here. Keep this alert right here. And just let the market do its thing. That is the diary, the observation of the day. The diary of the day for me, things that I've observed and God has revealed to me. And I hope I planted to see it in you guys, and hope you all are blessed and beautiful. And the viewers that are watching, I appreciate you for pulling up. Appreciate you for being a part of the live. If you got any questions, if you got any inputs, always feel free to share, speak your mind, speak your thoughts, because I can learn from you guys. There may be things that the Most High has revealed to you that you would like to share. So always feel free to do so. Definitely always welcome that. Definitely appreciate you all for pulling up. And I hope you all have a blessed, beautiful, and amazing rest of your nights. For me, I am going to, because I've been sitting down for a while, so I actually want to stand up and like stretch and do some mobility and read the Bible for a little bit. I'm not just about to sit here and read for hours on live and just be quiet. But other than that, that is pretty much it for me. I'll see the next time that I do a live, depending on what I'm trading. And if it doesn't overlap with the mentorship calls, then I'll do that. But other than that, much blessings to you guys. I hope you all stay safe, and I'll catch you all later on.